I don't think many will disagree when I say that this world is filled with advices about living life and how to improve it and all that. Things like imagine your ideal future, or write down your life goals, or remove unnecessary barriers. I won't say these self-help advices are completely useless, but many of the methods or techniques are not scientifically backed up, meaning they don't have the credibility to be applicable to our individual lives. It might have worked positively to the advocates, but might not to many of its audience, because we all live different lives. That's why this channel almost always has a scientific research attached as a source of evidence. Because many studies show that going to a public in-person school rather than being homeschooled has a huge benefit to tens of thousands of people, it might also work similarly to you yourself. This is the reason why I don't consider my channel to be your typical self-help channel. I want my viewers to understand that firmly. Now, some specific reasons why these advices are not very reliable is because the result will differ too much on your specific environment and your personality. On the other hand, advices like eat healthily, sleep well, or exercise daily are all advices in which benefit is almost certainly guaranteed. But most other advices we give out to each other are not all that promising. You certainly shouldn't count on it that much. And a bunch of these advices are things that at first glance look nothing but beneficial, so I'll talk about these 6 common advices that might not be so valuable after all. Okay, iffy advice number 1. The idea that organizing is always good. I got scolded by my parents a lot for being cluttered and disorganized with many things, and I'm sure you can relate too. Many people also say that organization makes you more productive because it allows you to not worry about their locations, and thus focus on what's important. However, a research study published on the Journal of Consumer Research Inc. on 2012 says that it's honestly a matter of preference. If you like your environment to be clean and organized, then doing so will benefit you, but if you don't really care about it, then being forced to organize won't create positive result. Also, there's another study done at the University of Minnesota that supports this, as it claims that a messy workplace actually generates creativity. And these studies alone do not guarantee this effect, but my overall analysis from looking at these studies is that organizing is not a set-in-stone recipe for success. Now, you might think this benefit you can get from being disorganized only applies if you're like an artist or something, but you can't forget that in this modern world, many things like a major boom or bust in the stock market, or things like COVID can happen out of left field and permanently change the world. As for normies like you and I, we can try to predict the future all we want, but are ultimately unreliable because there are just way too many things we don't know about. In order to live in a harsh world like this, we need to be able to imagine many possibilities. And to do this, we must use creativity to imagine the unimaginable. Iffy advice number 2, avoid procrastination when producing. Yes, I have said that procrastination is generally a bad way to operate and have made many videos talking about how to combat this habit. But there are studies like this one posted on the Journal of Neuroscience in 2009, which claims that a moderate amount of procrastination and mind wandering can increase concentration when working on your task. Obviously, delaying a responsibility until the day before it's due isn't a good idea for many reasons, but it seems that an intentional or mindful procrastination, under the knowledge that a moderate level dilly-dally can bring you good, will not be a problem at all, but is actually very useful. If you want to learn more about the principle of mindfulness and its application in life, I have you a video called What is Flow? Finding your ideal environment to concentrate and perform. So if you're also interested in that field of science and psychology, then make sure to check it out after finishing this video. Iffy advice number 3, waking up early to increase productivity. This one is also a very typical advice given in the self-help world, but needs to be shut down because it doesn't apply to everyone. A study done by researchers from Albion College and Michigan State University in 2011 explains that being able to benefit from waking up early in the morning, yet again, depends on the person. I've made a video in the past about how there's a thing called the chronotype, which groups people into different times in the day where they can concentrate the best. Of course, there are certain people who are the morning types, and yes, they will be able to focus and be the most productive during the early morning, but not everyone is this type. So blindly following this advice will harm you more. If you want further explanation on chronotypes and want to know what other categories are there, you should watch What is Your Ideal Time for Concentration? Finding your chronotype among these 6 categories. Number 4 false advice, speak positively. Oh, this is a good one. I feel like this is one of the most common advices you hear in the self-help world, whereby you can put positive and motivational energy in yourself by speaking positively. Well, according to a study done at the University of Texas at Austin in 2003, it's not that simple, because many people who already have a low self-esteem will actually be harmed by forcing themselves to feel positive. It's kinda similar to you not being able to respect others who you despise. In a functional societal sense, I doubt you can have respect towards those who break that peace. And because they or you don't have high respect towards themselves, saying positive things to force them to feel positive won't do you any good. You know yourself the best, a person who you can't feel positive about, so trying to convince yourself with positive words is meaningless, and thus should stop and ignore people who tell you to feel positive for no reason. It's been a common understanding in the scientific world that positive self-talk will only work if you already have a high self-esteem. And I think I talked about it in the video called 3 Things You Should Never Do in the Morning. This one is not a direct relation, but just as a sort of related example of positive self-talk not working as you or these self-help people have thought so. Number 5 false advice. Hard work is always right. Yes, many studies have said that those who succeed works hard at their endeavors, but this too is oversimplified. Research done at the International Labor Office in 2012 disagrees with the typical understanding, as it says that long hours of labor will more often lead to excessive fatigue or a diminished sense of accomplishment, and of course increased mistakes. Generally speaking, working hard for long hours is only possible if that person has the capacity to work long and hard. And as a result, they tend to earn more and become wealthy. This is a correlation, not a causation. The stories of these hard workers are absolutely admirable, but that in itself depends on numerous variables. Michael Jordan is known for practicing harder than everyone else in basketball, but if he had to study for the SAT as a job, nobody can guarantee he'll work as hard. Another possibility is that these hardworking people are so hungry for success that they can withstand all the obstacles that make them feel miserable. Even though they'll fail many times, most likely way more than regular people, these successful few are already motivated to keep trying. Number 6, and the final false advice is, become more confident. According to modern psychology, the idea that becoming more confident can solve for all issues is something similar to a fossil. There are many cases where confidence is bringing success, but the foundation of how this happens is hugely misunderstood. This confidence has to come together with growth mindset and resilience. One of today's recommended book, Evil, Inside Human Violence and Cruelty by Roy F. Baumeister and Aaron Beck, says that if you only become more confident without developing the other two, then you'll simply become a narcissist, but with a heart of glass. Confidence and the general self-assurance or self-compassion will naturally grow if you continue to put effort in your work and make results. And also, naturally, that makes most self-help media useless. If you want to learn even more, I've made multiple videos specifically about each one of these 6 points, and you can check all of them out in the description. I've been your host, Laios. Thanks for watching Life Study Library, and I'll see you in another video. Laios away.